Oh, we're about to have some fun on this one.
We are about to have some fun. Hey, guys, it's Ted Gilbert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. And this is our special series T with Ted, where we get freaking raw and the F word drop, and we'll have all sorts of fun. No, I really want to talk about shit instead of glossing over it. So that is what this show is all about. And I am beyond excited to have my friend, the talented, the pantsless Nick Krem. What's up?
Hey, be careful with that one. The pantsless. Man, I'll tell you what, Ted. I haven't been this excited to come on a show in a while.
Man, especially
when you said keep it raw, keep it a little bit ruthless. I'm like, man, you're speaking my language.
We got to, man. I feel like there is so much shit out there, misinformation, bullshit, a lot of fake. And I'm just
a lot of just telling people what they want to hear.
Yes.
And a lot of times too, look, I'm in the service industry for real estate agents, right? I'm going to just come out and say this right up front. There are a lot of businesses out there that just suck, that just tell agents this made up solution that does not exist. I'm going to start with this one right here, Ted.
Tell me, let's dig in.
This pisses me. This really grinds my gears. So, you know, I actually started at a call center. Did I tell you about that?
No, you did?
Man, so I was calling 15 hours a day, 8 a.m. on the East Coast to 8 p.m. on the West Coast.
Oh, my God.
That's where I really realized how important branding is, but we'll get to that. But I'll tell you what, I get so freaking tired of these ads saying, never pick up the phone again. Use this marketing strategy. If any ad is telling you as a real estate agent to not pick up the phone, they lose all credibility.
Something's wrong. Why would they do that?
Because agents do not like being on the phone. It makes them uncomfortable. And this made up solution that you don't have to answer the phone is what they believe they want, but it's not what they need to hear. It's not what they need to hear.
It's not going to do anything for them. How are you going to make a living if you don't pick up the phone?
Right. And then people telling you it's a good thing. You shouldn't have to answer your phone. You shouldn't have to call people. Look, there are people out there that truly just want that money. They're not worried about the business. But, you know, I don't like to come in this with ill will or negative intent. I like to believe that they believe they're doing the right thing. But I'll tell you what, telling agents not to pick up the phone, not to dial up for business is just absurd in my opinion.
Well, if you get into it and you think that you're never going to have to pick up the phone, you're going to be out of it before long. You're going to have invested all this money, all this time, and you're not going to be able to do it. If you're not a phone person or willing to learn how to be one, you're going to be back at what you were doing before.
And look, the way I look at it is I believe that like content and the virtual side and calling, door knocking, and the in-person side, there's a multiplication sign in between.
Yes.
So if you're doing nothing and working on it on one side, I don't care how good your branding is, times that by 0 and it's 0. Same thing.
Great analogy.
And it's so many people trying to do one thing or the other.
Agreed.
And what I realized too is I always tell agents, do not learn our side of the business. When people work with us, I call it the minimal effective dose. This one time I was working when I was early on, right? So I just figured out this great solution on the back end for how we're going to run this entire system. So I get on with the first person that really hired us. And at the time, we were just doing the work just to prove we can do it, right? So are you familiar with Jay Kinder?
Yes.
So I get on with Jay. I'm so excited to tell him about what we figured out. And I start going deep into the process. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Do I need to know this for it to work? I'm like, actually, no. He's like, then don't tell me. What do I need to know to make this work? He's like, real estate agents don't need to know what you do. They need to know what they need to do. And I think a lot
of people are afraid of what you do. And I want you to give them a little 411 as we take a deep dive, because there are some people that might not know what you do. But I feel like if you step too much into what you do, you're being ineffective across the board.
Absolutely. And it comes down to, you know, if you're good at everything, you're great at nothing. Right.
Exactly.
And even more so too, real estate agents, they most likely got into this business because you're like a people person or you want to get in front of people. And normally those type of individuals don't like sitting behind a computer, figuring out things on the back end. And at the end of the day too, I am good at sitting behind a computer. I would say I'm like an 8 out of 10 on that back end, but I get like 2 out of 10 energy. So I'm great at it, but it just drains me. So it's figuring out, you know, how can you leverage someone? But, you know, I don't blame real estate agents, though, because most companies, branding companies and marketing alike, still, they do not solve a problem. They create a shiny object and try and tell real estate agents, if you drop all the things you're doing right now and use this system, it's going to work. Well, dude, I'll tell you what, People are telling real estate agents to mess up their entire calendar, use this system and nothing else. You're fucking stupid. That is never going to happen. Even if that were to work and it to be true, you have to understand what the mindset of real estate agents have, knowing what are they willing to do and how can I create that minimal effective dose that creates that brand, that creates everything that they want without asking them to do everything on our side.
What made you target real estate agents, Nick? Because I think that's important for people to understand. You've got a background. Give them a little bit on that so they know.
Yeah, so that's going back to my call center days. I was working at a real estate call center. So I was working for real estate agents all over the country. And then within a couple months, I actually moved up to the trainer, which is a funny story too. But I started training this other real estate team, and I started managing the entire business. And at one time, I was managing about 75 different clients all across the country at like 23 years old. So I'll tell you what, I got what I realized too is, look, real estate agents never call me when they get a listing, a couple $1 million listing. They always call me when there's a problem. And I'll tell you what, my phone was ringing a lot. My phone was ringing a lot because what I realized too is there's so many different variables when it comes to having a call center with the real estate agent, the listing appointment. But there was one key one that I really noticed. There was a couple agents who had like 6 hours of dialing with us, and we had the same callers on them because I wanted to test it out. I wanted to eliminate all the possible variables, right? So I had the same caller on each one of these accounts. This one client had the warmest leads you can get. You know, right away we were dialing them within 2 minutes. And this other client, and we were calling 6 hours a day. This other client, we were calling 2 hours a day, circle dialing around $1 million neighborhood, and we were getting about like 6 to 7 listings a month.
Wow.
The first guy, we were getting maybe 1. And here's what it came down to. Look, real estate agents, it's not the leads. I'm telling you right now, it is not the leads. I know that's the first place most people go to. The leads suck. Oh, it's not working. Dude, that's not it. Like I said, these were the warmest leads ever. But nobody on that list knew the real estate agent. Never heard of him. And I could literally read them their social security number. And they'd still say it wasn't done. They still say, like, you literally just filled out a form 30 seconds ago, and I'm calling you back. But here's the thing, though. They've been browsing the web so much and been doing so much, they probably did forget who they filled out.
Right.
If you don't have a brand and you solely do marketing, you're going to lose.
So how do people change that? How do you, because I think a lot of agents are out there. A lot of agents are replicating the same thing over and over again. It's so fucking boring. I can tell the day that a certain company sends out all of their monthly newsletters and I get 90 of them. And there's nothing different. There's nothing that isolates or differentiates that realtor. So they're doing the easiest thing, the most passive thing. And then they're wondering why they're getting no results.
Well, and I think there's a distinction between marketing and branding. And a lot of times those get thrown in the same circle. Oh yeah, you got to get marketing and branding, right? They are two completely different things. Great. So I heard this on a podcast once, and this is the best way to really tell them apart. Marketing is if a guy walks into a bar, hasn't showered in a couple weeks, hasn't brushed his teeth either. You know, he comes in there wearing old clothes and he just buys everybody in the bar a drink and just hopes he's going to get lucky that night. Hopes he's going to be able to doesn't matter who it is, buys everybody in the bar a drink and just hopes for the best. Branding is working out every single day, making sure that you get dressed, showered, the right cologne, all of that. So you buy one drink and you get the exact person that you want.
Fascinating. That is so good.
Man, because that's the thing. They get lumped together.
Yeah.
But what people don't realize is marketing is based on the market. It's literally in the name. The market goes up, you need a new marketing strategy. It goes down, you need a new marketing strategy. Every week, you essentially, if you are really doing marketing right, almost every single week, you have to have a new strategy. Yes. By the time these companies, just think about this. By the time these companies figure out a solution, systematize it, create the system, the sales reps, and then push it out, it's a couple months behind. And a lot of times, too, it worked for these 10 individuals. Well, my business is completely different from theirs. My story, my brand is completely different. Like I said, I think these people mean the best. I'm not going to wish ill intent. But here's what I'll tell you. It's not the right way to fucking do it.
It's not.
These marketing, if your marketing strategy is a couple months old, it's old. Right. It's extinct. The market's changed. What the buyer's decision-making filters have changed. So for me, what happens when we go through tough times, Ted? Teddy Bear, what do you do?
What do I do? I look for new ways to not make it such a tough time.
That's definitely a good one. And what most people do is they go to the brand they trust. When people go in tough times, they go to the brand they trust. With branding, you create your own economy. You create your own business. You're in control of your brand at all times. You're in a bad economy, they go to you. Why? Because they know, like, and trust you. We hear that term a lot, and I feel like the marketing industry is trying to coin it. Look, marketing doesn't care about know, like, and trust.
No, they don't.
They care about just putting your ad in front of as many people as possible.
Yes.
Oh, you know what we need to do? Just throw more money in the ads. That's how this strategy is going to work. It's not a strategy. Most people are just winging it and getting it in front of as many people as possible.
Yes.
And they don't sit down and focus. What is your origin story? What are you really moving these customers about? What is your buyer's journey? All those things are just completely missed. And I'll tell you what, most people I meet with, they want a brand.
Well, they want a brand, but we don't know how to do it because we think, oh, if I have to have a brand, then I must have to be an influencer. And oh my God, I have to look pretty all the time on social media. They have no idea what the word brand even means. And again, because we don't know, we think marketing instead of branding. But you're right, it's completely different. When I have moved companies or moved different clients that I've had, it's my brand that goes with me. And because of my brand, I get to move. They're not married to the company I'm at. They're married to me. They like me.
Absolutely right.
And that is where I think I know a ton of people screw that up.
Yeah. And you know, people buy people. When you go over there to their house, they really don't care what company you're at.
That's right.
They really don't. They probably don't even know.
That's right.
They care about you. And if they feel like you're the right individual for them, and it's not even all the stats and the accolades. You know, this was one of my first coaching clients. He was the highest producing agent on this team for like 5 straight years. And then the beginning of this quarter, he actually got on my coaching call because he's having the hardest time. He's going through this and he's pushing. And what it always came down to is the numbers. My numbers are low. I need to get my numbers up. And this one call he came to, he lost this listing appointment to this literal brand new agent. Never sold a home. And he's sitting there like, I laid out everything I've done. And when he called him back, because if you're a good real estate agent, if you lose the listing appointment, you call them back right away. What could I have done to win your business if this doesn't work out? Yada, yada, yada. But they just said, we just felt like he was the right person for the job.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what you were doing? You were trying to sell on logic, push your emotions, and you were worried about the numbers. They felt like this brand new kid would run through a brick wall to sell their home.
They felt they connected with them because the other person was authentic. Yep. They weren't in the business long enough to be an asshole or be fake. They were just literally struggling through it. And I think people respond to that shit. They believe it better if I'm me and not pretending to be somebody I think you want me to be. Right. My presentation is going to be so much better and my connection is going to be stronger.
And you know, that's where, again, coming into this marketing versus branding, it's so very distinctive. Marketing is we're going to plug you into our system. It's plug and play. And we're going to throw your picture at the end of it. Let's go. Let's push this out. Let's just run ads. Man, I'll tell you what, we didn't look to start this company. We were looking for other services that were doing it, trying a lot of different places. And we literally did not find one. We did not find one that really fit it to the T of how do you help someone create their story? How do you also articulate their story? Because value unarticulated is value unappreciated. If you cannot properly explain what you do, why you're different, your origin story, and all that emotion, you're going to lose it to somebody else who is.
Shit, Nick, that's so true because I have agents that will come on the show and beforehand I tell them, hey, origin story. They're like, what do you mean? I don't really know what my origin story was or is. I'm like, how do you not know how you got from here to or from there to here? I don't. Because they've never thought like that. They've never thought that was important for anyone else to know. Right. So they've never been able to verbalize it.
You know, Ted, and I don't think they do need to know that. I really don't. What we do is we just get on Zoom. Half the time, they don't even know what we're doing. We're just asking them all these questions, diving deeper, digging deeper. By the end of the Zoom, we have it all recorded. We send it to our copywriting team. They transcribe it, and all of a sudden, we got landing pages, emails. And the most important thing, too, is, man, how many people out there are posting one thing on Twitter, one thing on Instagram, one thing on Facebook? They have another team running their emails, and all the messages are different. All the messages are different. And I'll tell you what, I don't have any kids, but I'm the 7th oldest of 43 cousins on my one side. So I've babysat enough to know this one thing. You got to tell kids to do something at least 7 to 8 times if and when they finally do it.
Right.
Right. You tell them it once, it's never going to happen. Maybe the second time, no. Third time, hell no. You got to get to at least 5 to 6 times with like telling them something for them to actually do it. Our audience is the same way.
Agreed.
But what most people do is they hit them with one message. So that's one hit. And then they hit them with another message. That's a different hit. It doesn't stack. And then another message. And what happens is they get confused.
It's confused. It's frenetic. You're shiny objects. It's one. What am I representing? What are you trying to give me? What is your message? And you're right. The unified message part, the consistent messaging is missing.
Right. And I'll tell you what, too. Most of these events I go to, hell, these social media marketing events, I leave more confused than when I walked in. And I'm like, if I'm leaving confused, everybody here is fucking confused.
You better believe it.
So you know what? They walk out of there and say like, oh, man, that's not for me. Or they buy a $5,000 course that'll teach you how to do it. But look, if I'm confused just listening to you, why would I buy a $5,000 course that's teaching me how to do it? That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose. I don't believe so. But they really aren't helping the real estate industry by doing that.
They're not.
It's like, I think a lot of them haven't actually spent time in the industry and know what the day of a real estate agent is, know the mindset, what goes into it, how much effort you got to put into it. They just create this course and, hey, just spend 2 hours a day on this course. Then you can learn it and then spend 3 hours on the line with support. That is never going to happen. Never going to happen.
And in this market, Nick, what are you seeing? Because obviously realtors are struggling. They're not quite admitting it yet, but they are.
Yeah.
They're having a hard time finding listings. Forget about buyers. So they're trying to figure out what the hell they can do next. So give us your insights on that.
Well, I'll tell you what. The first thing that I notice is real estate agents got spoiled these last couple of years. Hell, from the recession till now, they were spoiled. You just had to have a real estate license, and most likely you're going to get a couple listings. Yes. There was no competition. You were just going out, and everything was great. Now there's competition, and the experts are differentiating themselves. The experts are winning the competition, are winning that over. The first thing I would tell them is get your ass back in training. Go back to the whiteboard and become a master at your craft. It is a skill. I hate when people say you either got it or you don't. You know the biggest fucking insult that I get, Ted?
Tell me.
You just have something I don't. Bull fucking, you are trying. Like, I don't know if they realize it, but they're just giving themselves an excuse to not work hard. You just have something I don't. Man, you're gifted. I don't have a superpower. I don't have something that other people don't. I truly believe everybody has a unique skill. A unique thing that like they do better than anybody else on this earth. There's just like one little thing that they do, but most people aren't willing to find it. And also on top of that, they're too busy trying to fit in.
Yes.
So let's get back on the topic though. I was getting a little off topic.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go.
No, that's perfectly fine. So most agents, you got to get back to the drawing board. You got to get the right training, right? Beyond that too, what I would say is this, this was when I heard this from this gentleman, this was about 4 years ago. I was having a drink with this guy from Zillow. And, we were talking a bit and he was like, he had a couple drinks. So I think I was winning him over a bit. And he's like, do you know how many real estate agents are promoting our business? I'm like, yeah, Zillow leads. He's like, no. He's like, think about it for a second. So Ted, how many times a day do you see real estate agents just post a picture of the house and say, just closed, just sold?
Way more than I ever care to. Yes.
You know what we are training the consumers to do and our clients? We are training them that the home is the most important part of that deal. So you find the home and just pick an agent out of a hat. That is literally Zillow's business model.
Yes.
The entire industry is doing it because it's just what you do. It's what we learn from. But I'll tell you what, that's the reason why you got to work with experts. If you have one person, like most team leads they're at a disadvantage because they have to know the listing side, the buyer side, social media, how to run the team, how to work the admin. So you're never going to be able to keep up with what we're doing. I always say there's a difference between the answer and an answer. Shit, I can give you an answer to the mortgage side. It might not be good, but I can give you an answer.
Exactly.
If I don't know it, my favorite thing to say is, I have no idea how to do that. I got somebody in my phone who does.
Yes. Why don't we say that more often?
Because most people are afraid to say, I don't know how to do it. Or I don't know that answer. I know I was, especially early on. I wanted to have an answer for everything. I thought that was the right way. And then my mentors taught me different. They taught me, look, call me when you have this problem. It's like, why the hell did it take you 5 months to call me with this problem? I'm like, I don't know. I just wanted to solve it. He's like, why? I already did. Are you getting paid more to solve a problem I already did? I'm like, well, no. He's like, so that's just stupid. You wasted time, you wasted energy, you wasted effort, and you could be working on all these other things. And, you know, when I really realized, we all say it, just call and ask for help. Hey, if you need anything, reach out. And we all truly mean it. I really do believe that. Why are we so against calling somebody else?
Because we want to look like we're taught we need to be the expert at all things.
Yeah, at all things. And that's where I feel like there's just the wrong mindset is instilled in this industry in just the slightest different ways. It's just that millimeter change that people need to make.
So how did you differentiate yourself? Because I guarantee you, let's play devil's advocate. Somebody's watching and going, oh, yeah, that's nice, Nick. Young guy, smart, talks a lot, seems to know what he's talking about. But I've heard this fucking story before.
Yeah.
So tell me, explain it to them, because I think it's super important, because you are different. You take a different approach than anyone else I know in the industry.
I'll tell you what, I got 3 tips that will get them more business. It's super simple. I learned to stay away from the word easy, because easy is different for everybody. Easy for me is different than easy for you. Oh, you're like, oh, just closing this loan, that's easy. I have no idea how to do that. So what we do is we keep it simple. Sometimes I send the social media and that kind of training to my grandma and say, can you do this? And if she can't, she sends it back. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk through these 3 simple strategies that are in perfect alignment with the real estate agents today that can help grow their business and create a brand. The first one is, when you sell a home or help somebody buy a home, especially right now, stand in front of the home and shoot a video and tell people all the work you had to do to get those people, that family in there. How much you stayed up late, and I didn't even mind it because I really wanted this family to get it. They really saw this as their dream home, so I really wanted to make that happen. Look, there were 14 other people that put in an offer on this property, but I am the person that got them into this house. Look, if you want to get into your dream home right now, you have to work with an expert, because 14 other people didn't.
Hair and makeup?
Reach out to me. No, it doesn't matter. Man, go right from the gym. I love the videos right from the gym, having that sweat equity all over me. But look, that's how you train people to choose you, and you'll help them find a home.
Yes.
Stop just posting pictures of homes. All you're doing is training people to go online and find a home with a random agent.
Yes.
That's the first thing. Every time you buy or sell, stand in front of the home. This next one is badass. I actually saw this one in action. I went somewhere with my mom to like her aunt's cousins or something like that. Like, I didn't know we even had this family, but we're going over there, right? So we walk in the house, and the first thing my mom does is, wow, that's a really nice portrait of your family. And she goes on talking, and it turns out what this real estate agent did is, when the buyers bought the house, all the family's there. So they brought the photographer back, took a family picture in front of their new home, and just had their logo tastefully in the corner. But just think about that. When anybody walks into your home, that's one of the first things they always look at. And they always say, again, whether they believe it or not, that's such a nice picture of your family. Oh, you know what? It was a real estate agent. And they get into talking about your story, and it will be there forever, whether it's in a photo album, but most likely the most newest picture. I don't know about you, Ted, but me and my siblings and my mom and dad were never really in the same place at once. Like, it's so hard to get a family picture.
Yeah. So
everybody's there. That's going to go right on the mantle, get hung up. You can even frame it for them. Have your logo just tastefully in the corner, because they will never forget that.
I love it.
You will always be top of mind. Do you want to talk about a great closing gift? That's the one I will go with every single time.
Yes.
And here's the last
really good. That's really good.
And here's the last one.
I think that the separation of something different that is still indelible, it's never going to leave. You are always going to be a subject when somebody comes in. I love that portrait. That's the story. That's brilliant. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah. And, you know, again, most of these marketing companies and these social media guys are trying to sell you a pipe dream.
Yep.
Trying to sell you this false reality that just doesn't exist. If people are telling you to not work so hard and create a life that you never have to work again. Dude, I don't know about you, Ted, but I never want to stop working. Like, my goal of working hard is not to eventually not work, just to do different things and keep enjoying it.
Yes.
So if you're looking for the solution that will never have you working again, look, just take it easy. We're going to do all of this for you. And what they end up doing is just copy and paste everybody else and throw your picture on it. Yep. That will never, ever work.
It's bad. It's bad business. It's just bad.
It really is. But here's the last one, Ted.
Tell me.
So, you know, real estate agents, they did a survey on this a while back of like the least trustworthy people in business, right? Used car salesmen, number 1. Number 2, real estate agents. Most people don't have a high trust because, again, Real estate agents do not properly articulate the value that they do. I truly believe that. There's so much that is missed on the emotional side. Most people can tell you their numbers, but it's that origin story and the branding. But here's how we got this one, because I got access to thousands of leads all across the country, dead leads, warm leads, cold leads, so many different strategies. So I got to play around with it a lot, right? This one strategy got our appointment show up rate and conversion up 23%.
Jeez.
Across the board. So anybody on here right now that's like, oh, well, my market's different. Look, man, I was in every state, all the different kinds of, like, this one worked everywhere, everywhere. Because here's the thing. Most of these campaigns are, number one, even if you have a drip campaign, a lot of agents don't even have one. But if you do, they just use the follow-up boss one, the one that's already in there, and they insert themselves. And again, you send out text messages, it might say their name, but everybody assumes that it's a robot, an assistant, or not them. So a lot of times, these things that you think are helping are actually kind of hurting you, losing rapport and not building as much trust. It's like, oh, I'm just somebody else to them. So here's what we decided to do. We call this name the puppy, right? So the one thing you never do when you get a puppy, if you don't plan on keeping it, is name it. Because once you name it, you're going to keep it. It becomes part of the family.
Yes.
So here's how you name the puppy. Name yourself as the realtor before you even walk in the door. So right when you hang up the phone with them or before you're going over there, you shoot them a video message right when you hang up the phone. You just say, hey, Ted, I look forward to talking tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'll be there at 3 o'clock. Like, just something really quick. It really does not matter what you say in it as long as you do these two things in it. Say their first name. Yes, it's a new video message every time. It is not one you shoot and just send it out each time. Be authentic. Be yourself. If you mumble or stumble, great. It's more authentic, and you actually come off as somebody that's coming over there as a buddy. Not somebody who's like, who's this real estate agent? He sounds too proper. He sounds like he's like too scripted.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And I'll tell you what. So the first thing you do is always say their first name. You want to let them know that that video was shot just for them. So right there, they're like, oh, wow, that's a little bit different. And the second thing is one of the most important things. Never, ever, ever, ever watch it before you send it. Because if you watch it, you're going to reshoot it 20 times.
Yep.
And you're going to come back to me and say, that doesn't work. I'm like, well, you shot one video message in 20 minutes when you should have shot 20 in 20 minutes. You know, do it quick, get them out. If you mess up, great, even better. A lot of times the imperfection is the connection.
Say that again.
The imperfection is the connection.
Guys, he is so on point with that. That is the problem. Everything's coiffed. Everything's filmed. Everything's over edited. And nobody feels a connection because the imperfection isn't there. You're taking away you're stripping away everything about you that people would like, and you're making it robotic.
And a lot of times too, it does a couple more things that are just so hurtful to the actual way you should be doing branding. First of all, the things that most people edit out are the exact things that I would tell them to keep.
Yep.
Like, you need those in there. It makes you more human. We were actually working with this agent who had the most pristine videos. I kept telling him, go live. You need to have some other things on there. He's like, no, it's not my brand. And his buddy called him. He's like, hey, I got it. I'm selling my house. It's about $750,000. Do you know a real estate agent that could sell this? He's like, do you know who you're talking to? And the average listing in that area was about 500,000. And his buddy was like, oh, no. You don't want to mess with this house. You know, it's not over $1 million. Like, that's not your forte. I won't ever ask you to do that. And he's like, holy shit. How many people thought that same exact thing and didn't give him a call?
God, that's good.
But yeah, so the two, like, a couple things that it does too is you send it to an editor. Number one, they're going to take weeks to go through that editing process. I have a huge bone to pick with a lot of the editors and a lot of people in these camera crews out there. But we'll get into that one. But they're going to take weeks to edit it. They're going to take out all the imperfections. They're going to add all these different things to it that don't even need to be in there. And then at the end of the day too, it's all about speed. Look, Ted, if you shoot one video every week and I shoot 20, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. Most people are worried about, because again, these gurus tell you, you got to post at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Those are the times. So what happens when it gets to 8:05? Oh, I'm going to post tomorrow. I missed 8 o'clock. And most people are going to tell you how long it needs to be. Look, Ted, we did an 8-hour or like 9-hour virtual mastermind. Everybody was telling me you're fucking crazy. No real estate agent's going to sit through that. Man, it's got to be 30 minutes at max. I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll see about that. The average watch time out of 10,000 people who showed up to this virtual event was 6.5 hours.
Damn.
That counts the people who showed up late too. Damn. But what I'll tell you what is, Ted, have you seen the movie Endgame? You know, the Marvel movie?
Yeah.
Did you get up and walk out of the theater because it was too long?
No.
I was glued to my fucking seat.
Yeah.
Because it was entertaining and it was like I wanted to see it. So I don't care if it's a 3-minute video, 20-minute video. What we first had to realize too is our competition on social media is booties and babies. That is our competition, guys. It is not the real estate agent that got 20 likes and that's more than me, 200. Yeah. You are competing against Kim Kardashian for mindshare. All the things that are going on in the world is your competition. People don't go to social media to learn the 3 steps of how to sell your home faster. Look, people go to social media because they're lazy and bored. And you just bored them even fucking more. And it's just...
It's so true. It's so true. Like, I just started doing TikTok, right?
I saw that.
I suck at it. Like, I am the worst. I can't lip sync.
You do the song and dances. Yeah.
I literally can't dance. I'm an old white man. I have no rhythm. But you know what? I'm having fun with it. And that's what people are telling me. I'm watching because you're having a good time and I want to see it. And I'm sprinkling little shit in there about lenders. But the whole point of it is to show me being an idiot. And I'm enjoying myself and they can see it. That gets attraction. I've set up appointments from that silly ass TikTok shit because I'm me. I only know how to be me. I've had to learn it. Don't get me wrong, guys. I wasn't always But I feel like that kind of shit, that's where you know you're doing the right thing, when people connect with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's also a lot of times on social media too, I feel like people try to be smarter.
Yes.
And think that helps them by using these terms.
No, we just make fun of those people. No offense. But it's just, I see that stuff and I'm like, how many times did you have to be told in an earpiece how to say that word? You don't even know what that word means.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. I always think of this one episode. Have you seen the show Friends?
Yes.
Of fucking course you have. It's one of the best shows ever.
It's an amazing show.
So there's this one episode. I don't know if you remember this one. This one episode, it wasn't a big part. But this guy came over to sell Joey almanacs, right? Yes. And he's like, he tells Joey, have you ever been in a room where you have no idea what they're talking about, but you just smile and nod? And they do all these flashbacks to these like basic conversation. He has no idea. And he's like, that's what most people do when these agents are talking about real estate.
Yes.
Like in all seriousness, I will put this, this is not a stat that I pulled from somewhere, but I would say like 80% or the majority of people don't really know what a buyer's or seller's market is. They really don't. If you ask them like how things fluctuate, what's supposed to happen, they have no fucking idea. But buyers and sellers market, I hear it all the time. So I'm just going to, it's a seller's market. Yeah, that's what I heard down the street. Joe just told me it's a seller's market. Oh, I believe it's a buyer. They have no fucking idea what they're really talking about.
Agreed.
So when agents come on here and say the market absorption is here, here, and here, no one's going to want to work with you because they don't understand you. They don't understand you. So it's also all these things. The expert is the one who could break it down in the simplest way. That's
I'm fascinated. I don't want to pick on anybody. I won't say any names, but I'm fascinated. There's a trend in real estate where they're doing the pretend I caught you off guard video. And I fucking hate it. I really hate it. And the reason I hate it is because I know it's fake.
Yeah.
I know it's fake and it's not that funny. Maybe the first time as a joke. But if that is what and it's all over the place now. Everybody started to do it. Guys, I hate it as a consumer. I think it's the worst thing on the planet. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what. That's the difference between marketing and branding. When you do not have a clear idea for what your brand is, the core values it stands on, the message you want to put out there, you just start hopping on every trend. Because every week there's a new trend, and that's marketing. Hop on this, hop on that, hop on this, do that. Instead of saying, okay, I see that trend. How am I going to apply that to my brand?
Right.
But here's the thing, though, too, Ted. Real estate agents shouldn't have to know how to do that. That's my job. That's my job. And I'm just going to tell you exactly what you need to do, what you need to say. Go do this and send it back to me. That's it.
That's what's brilliant about what you do.
Most people aren't willing to put in the work to actually create a brand. But most people have no fucking idea how to do it. And they're getting told by the wrong people how to do it. And a lot of these individuals don't know the day of a real estate agent. They come up with, I was hearing Steve Jobs talk about this. He's like, you know the difference between us and everybody else? All these companies create all these shiny objects and all these great things that in theory sound great in your life. We look at the everyday American and solve one problem. You have to solve people's problem in their everyday life, and that's how you make a great company. If anything,
that's what you've done. You have. So the one thing that, and I want to give you kudos, because the one thing that I think separates you out is that you have made this cool combination of old school and new school, and really made it your own. Yeah. And so you can talk all the language, but you've put it into play, and you individualize it, which is critical.
Yes.
I never feel like I would have no idea who your clients are. Why? Because you take each one and utilize their strengths and get their messaging out in a way that is good for them.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I had to learn the fundamental. I can't even say that again if I tried. Fundamentals.
Brother, no joke.
I had to learn the fundamentals first of the real estate industry before I went breaking them.
Yes.
Because most people come in and they start wrecking shit. And they don't know what fundamentals just need to stay. There are pillars of the real estate industry that will never leave and should never. Right. These companies that are trying to eliminate the phone. Are you fucking stupid? So you're trying to tell an agent to never pick up the phone again. You are going to attract the worst kind of realtor. The ones that never answer their phone, that don't want to put in the work, that are looking for an easy solution. You are literally hurting the real estate industry.
Yes.
Because here's what I realized too, Ted. I think I was telling you about this too. What I realized, and like the power of what we really have, like what we can do for people, it really is pretty fucking cool what we can do. Yeah. You know, but I realized, I'm not going to name a name, but I mean, I've only worked at one other place. When I was there, it was more so, hey, are they swiping the credit card? Oh yeah, they're in. Is it like, it doesn't matter if it's going to work, if they're a right fit for it, if they're doing the right things. And even on top of that, there's this one client, he would just fucking ram our people over the phone. And I got a couple of the recordings because I'm like, it can't be that bad. Dude, I would never fucking put up with what this guy was doing. And even more so, how could he even treat someone like that that's working for him and doing their best?
Right.
You know, something that I heard on stage recently. I shared the stage with my first billionaire recently. It's pretty freaking cool.
Dude, Logan, you're doing great things, man. You really are.
I appreciate that. And he said one thing. Like if I would have just got this one thing, it was worth the price of admission. He said most people strive for success. Because success is what you see. It's what you see out there. Success, success, success. You know what that is? That's what you want and all the things you're going to get. Strive for significance. Be significant in like as many people's lives as you can. Success follows. If you strive for being a significant impact in your clients, your employees, everybody out there, success follows. But when we're so focused on ourselves, hitting our goals, hitting our numbers, we lose sight of what we're really doing. So for me, I realized very early on, we can make a bad real estate agent look fucking great. Help them construct a message that they don't even believe in. But man, I'll tell you what, language patterns are so key, which I pick up on the news and all that now. We're not going to get into that. But just the slightest alteration of the message can be the difference between it flopping or it just skyrocketing.
Yes.
We can make the freaking worst agent, worst core value is going to screw people over, look amazing, like the best family man ever. But here's what I realized too. I have a duty and obligation to the end user, the homeowners, to only put the right agents in front of them. I don't give a shit if they have no idea about technology. Never. We have this one guy that we're working with. I think he's like 78 years old. Didn't even have a Facebook. We got him started. He's shooting videos and he's going. Why? Because we figured it out and just say, all you got to do is show up at this time. We'll have the show set up for you. We'll do all that. Just show up and talk to this guy. That's all he does.
So good. Yet you met them where they needed to be met and they followed you. They learned. I think that's so critical to what you do. Like the first time we met, just so comfortable. Your energy, of course, is contagious, but the authenticity of who you are, you never deviate from that. This is the same Nick.
Yep. The only person I put pants on for is Ted. You're the only one who gets pants, Nick, by the way.
Which is a whole nother story, kids.
That's a whole nother story for another time.
I don't know what that won't be called. Tea with Ted. I'm not quite sure what that will be.
Pantsless with Ted. I like it.
Nick, I love you too. And I appreciate you. And I mean that. Like I am drawn to your honesty and your authenticity. And we throw those fucking words around like they're buzzwords.
We really fucking do. Yeah,
but you really are. When you know someone is true, that is such a beautiful thing to connect with them. And so I follow you and I watch what you do, and I'm amazed that you have that kind of insight at such a young age. You are younger, and that is a big deal. It's a big deal.
I really appreciate that, Ted. And you know what? My age used to kind of bother me a little bit earlier on, right? Because I was managing guys 60 years old and I'm 22, telling them how to do it. And I'm just like, what I realized is the people who are older than me, which was basically everyone in the industry when I was 22, if they're unwilling to learn from me because I'm younger, but I figured this one thing out and they still haven't, you know, I do want to tell this story, and I'm not going to name a name, but this was actually, it was really funny. And she was trying to put a slight on me. And in reality, so she was telling me, I've been in real estate as long as you've been alive. Hey, when you get to this level, you're going to do great things. And I sat at her and I kind of looked and I thought, first of all, your business is nowhere near where ours is. You have a couple agents on your team. You're doing okay. And you're trying to tell me you're proud that my entire life since I've been born, you've been in this business and you're only right fucking there. And I started my business less than 4 years ago. We're in 13 countries in all 50 states. But here's what we did very early on. We went to our first mastermind. Al Stasic actually bought our Airbnb, our tickets, and snuck us in, right? Biggest teams all across the country. But what they did in that room was they were talking about having to get rid of their Netflix subscription to make it by, selling their house just to put a down payment on their office. And I was like, I walked out of there. I'm like, dude, they're just like us. But I did what all people do when they leave masterminds and what most people do when they get a system. Like, ooh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then we're going to make it our own. This dude literally just told us how to fucking make $1 million. And I think I can make it better. We got to put our ego aside.
Yeah.
And just say, these guys figured it out. What I did and what I figured out very early on was I fucking called everybody I knew. I got to know each individual, all these big hitters in this room, and they all did one thing better than everybody else. I call it my virtual Rolodex. I love saying I have no idea how to do this, how to build the business side, how to run the back end. Most people are like, how don't you know how to do that? I'm like, because I don't need to.
Right.
That's my brother. And here, you know what? Here is something that real estate agents really need to hear. Ready for this, Ted?
Ready. I'm ready.
Most people think they have business partnerships, when in reality, they have a bunch of people who are yes men, just giving them the pat on the back that they feel like they need. Just saying they're going to tell you what you want to hear. You know why? Because it's exactly what they're thinking.
Yes.
Most people think that their business partnership is like they're just like me. Like, oh, we fit so well together. I'll tell you what. My brother is my business partner. Seen Mike? Have you seen Mike, Ted?
No, I don't think so.
There's a reason behind that, though, too. Because he is an amazing CEO. I'll never forget, I was on a call listening to John Kitchens, who's coached so many businesses across the country, not even just outside of real estate. He said the biggest problem that they were going to this guy, John Abraham, he would tell Michael Reese and Jay Kinder, who is the CEO? Because there's only one. The companies that have two fail because they have two people trying to do their own visions, trying to do their own things. And when it comes down to it, nobody takes accountability. For the longest time, they didn't do it. Then they finally did, and it blew up. I literally went downstairs, knocked on my brother's door, because at the time we were both CEOs. I'm like, you're the CEO. Like, that is your position. You are better at it. You are more fit for it. I'm putting my ego aside and saying, what do I need to do? Most people are unwilling to be uncomfortable and to surround themselves with people who think different, will challenge their thoughts. But what I figured out, me and my brother figured, we would get into it sometimes, right? Because look, growing up, we literally are almost complete opposites, but we're both competitive as shit. So we would get into it. And, you know, sometimes in the business, you know, things get a little heated.
Yes.
And the one time, this changed my life, really. He stopped in the middle of an argument and he said, screw this. I want you to be right. Tell me why you are right. He's like, I want you to be right. And at that moment, I'm like, fuck, I kind of want you to be right too. And then we realized it's never about who is right. Arguments are about who is right. And that's ego. Conversations are about what is right. Because we're just trying to figure out what is right. And I'm willing to, you got to go into that being open and willing to be wrong. And if you're able to do that, man, I'll tell you what, then you can start reaching out for help.
Look, I mean, that is so smart. living in that situation. I have lived in that situation. I have relationships that are like that.
Yeah.
And I probably need, I know I need to do the same thing. I feel like and I'm probably the least egotistical, like I'm competitive.
For someone as well dressed as you to not have an ego there is just fucking amazing.
No, I swear to God, like for me,
yeah,
I dress for me. Like I don't think of, oh God, I'm going to be better dressed than the next person who's doing whatever the hell it is that I do. That's for a whole nother show. But I feel like egos are involved. People are become very competitive for the wrong reasons. And I love what your brother did. He stopped that shit cold.
Literally dead in his tracks. That's the toughest thing to do when those high emotions are involved.
Yeah.
And you know what? That, like, the relationship that we have now, it's been light years. Yeah. My mom, so we're getting raw and real, right? There was a time when, like, we were almost completely disconnected, didn't talk to each other for, I wouldn't say years, but we would just do the niceties. You know what I mean? Like, we really weren't close. We were close growing up because I was playing, like, for a lot of times, if I didn't make his age sports team, I wasn't going to be playing. There was 2 parents. My sister was older. I was the youngest. So you got to make that team. So I was always around him, but we just didn't think on the same wavelength. And for me, there was a couple years we didn't keep in touch. My mom thought that, like, us as siblings would never talk to each other. We were going to be the siblings that see each other on Christmas.
Wow.
She's like, that was breaking my heart. And just to have this relationship now has taught me so much just about life. Just so much about, there are people out there that think completely differently from you. Yes. And it's okay. Like, sometimes, like, I feel like so many people get stuck in their way of thinking and just thinking, how could they think that? How could they do this or do that? And when you hear what they were thinking, you're like, well, that actually makes sense in your world.
Yes.
And a lot of times too, my biggest thing from all that is it does not matter when emotions get involved. Emotions are not reasonable. So if somebody felt a certain way, I don't care what you believe you were trying to do. Feelings and our emotions are unreasonable. It's the moment you're trying to, so I can get into all that with my
brother. Love that.
Yeah.
All right, Nick.
Yeah.
You know, I love you. You're the best.
Sir.
I appreciate you coming on and spilling the tea with me. If you didn't learn something from here, you don't have a pulse. You guys got to get your shit together. Our industry, it doesn't matter what industry, but since we both touch the real estate industry, get your shit together. Be original. Reach out to somebody like Nick. Nick does the things that you aren't good at. That's okay. Let him help you. You focus on that shit and let Nick and his team get you to where you need to be in a real, authentic way. And it's not just some bullshit branding. It's real.
It's
Nick,
real.
I love you to pieces. Tell them the best way they can find you, brother.
Yep. It's just nickkrem.com. And I'll tell you what, that's your first lesson right there. nickkrem.com. Nick Krem everywhere you go. It's not some fancy brand that's going to change next week. It's my name, nickkrem.com.
Thanks, man, so much for being on here. You guys reach out to Nick. I know you want to. Don't be afraid. You're going to get the same Nick you got here talking to you. That's what you want. And if you don't think you want that, you're wrong. You want somebody to challenge you. You're obviously not happy in what you're doing. You're not doing it right. Something's not working. You feel it. You know it in your heart. Reach out to Nick Krem.
You know what, Ted? I got one last thing.
Tell me.
One last thing. And I think this is really important because actually these last 3 weeks, I had 2 buddies that one I was a little closer with and the other one passed away recently. Right. And it sucks. But, you know, with a certain lifestyle, there's not many options in it. But anyways, what happens is when they pass away, what's the first thing that most of us think about? Man, I wish I had more video of them. I wish I had more pictures. So what I know is when I pass away, because it's going to happen, we all are going to. You're going to have so many videos, pictures of my entire life story. And for me, it's the legacy that you leave. Yes. When I have great grandkids, they're going to be able to see from point A to point B all the things I went through. And even more so, it's just, if you don't do it for you, do it for your family, do it for other people. But just another way to think about it.
All right, brother. Love you to pieces. Nick Krem.
Love you, brother.
Love you, man. We'll see you soon. Thank you for spilling the tea, my friend. You guys come back out. We would love for you to spill the tea with me if you've got something you really want to say and you're not afraid to say it. Let's get on and chat about it. But seriously, if you want to grow your business in the right way, brand in the right way, nickkrem.com, that's where you want it.
Let
and
it go.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart. All right.
Appreciate
See you guys soon. Bye, everybody.